fear of snakes. Oh, fear. Dio. agoraphobia that people think might have biological causes where our brains are wired to pick up the presence of threats. Number 3, fear of heights, agoraphobia. I don't know about you, but I personally have agoraphobia, perhaps not to a severe degree, but I am pretty afraid of heights. And I would say that I'm not alone in it because agoraphobia affects over 20 million people. Are you one in 20 million people? This fear in particular is frequently associated with anxiety attacks, and you can try to avoid the phobia trigger, which in this case is high places. Number 4, fear of open or crowded spaces, and that is agoraphobia. It's mostly a fear of places or situations where a quick escape would be difficult, which include confined spaces, crowds, and even airplanes. Now, agoraphobia is often associated with panic disorder. In fact, roughly 1/3 of patients with an existing panic disorder will have agoraphobia. Fear of dogs, cynophobia. Number 5. Cynophobia is actually affecting 36% of all patients who seek phobia treatment. So it is actually one of the most commonly treated phobias. Usually the phobia stems from past traumatic experiences. Number 6, fear of thunder or lightning. It's called astrophobia. Astrophobia, it can be called by other names such as brontophobia or curanophobia or donitrophobia, but it's usually debilitating during thunderstorms, and generally speaking it's found in children rather than adults, and mostly people grow out of it. So, number 7, fear of small spaces, which is claustrophobia. The fear of small spaces can be very real. Yeah, just like that little man in there. You can be fearful of places like elevators, small rooms, and also other enclosed spaces. One interesting thing is that sometimes the fear of flying in an 11, fear of cancer is carcinophobia. I think that's self-explanatory with the carcino in front, sort of like carcinogen. 12, fear of death. This one was interesting. It's called thanatophobia. Interesting word if you think about the Marvel series. Hades, on one hand, is the ruler of the underworld, and he is very distinct from this Greek personification of death called Thanatos. And Thanatos represents the process of death. Because of that, Thanatos was considered to be merciless and also indiscriminate towards those he must take. And that speaks a lot about how the ancient Greeks perceived death. Scary. 13, fear of public speaking is glossophobia. People with fear of public speaking, it goes beyond normal anxiety that a lot of people can experience. Glossophobia results in something that is more serious. There is a very severe impairment during these scenarios, and it's very interesting that someone who has fear of public speaking, they might not have a problem with dancing or singing or doing anything else in the public setting. It's just speaking. Number 14, fear of being alone. Monophobia. That fear might actually be a lot more popular than we might think. It is understandable. Human beings are social creatures, and if we don't interact with people on a regular basis, then a lot of the times they feel loneliness. And when people with monophobia have to look at things like eating or sleeping, sometimes they can become serious hassles as well. Lastly, 15, fear of failure, digiphobia. I wanted to share a quote with you. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. I really liked this quote. It's from Winston Churchill, and I hope that it was a little bit of a motivational tidbit for you tonight. This is the final product. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and